Hi guys, Jay Smith here. Welcome to the AskGolfNut channel. Today we're going to be doing a comparative review between these two, P790, the 2023 one, against Ping, i525. Both players distance category, as in hollow head designs, both got tungsten, and both got stuff inside it to quiet it down. The speed foam air, I think it is, in the P790, and then we've got some form of polymer that's injected in the face to try and quieten these things down, because obviously hollow bodied can resonate quite a bit, and some people care about sound, some people don't. Now, I have full reviews of these two on my channel where we talk about technology inside the heads. I'm not going to go too much detail about the technology within these. You can, if you want to know that, you can go have a look at my full reviews. But these are exactly the same lofted. These are 30.5 degree 7.9s. So there is no advantage one or the other when it comes to that. So what we're going to do, we're going to go get the simulator going, where we can have a go hitting into a green, see if there's any feel and looks differences between these two and kind of relative performance, before we go to the back end of the video, where we're going to be testing if there's any differences in flight between these performance-wise, get into the numbers, and also forgiveness. What is the difference between the brand new against the relatively new, and see if one is more forgiving than the other. Right, okay, let's go get the simulator on, and let's go test let's do the brand new P790 first. Okay, back. We are at Broken Tree, hole 13. It is the most ridiculous one I think I've ever used. It's 173 yards. However, this green is ridiculously small, and it's protected by the most atrocious bunker in the world. It's got a lovely finger bunker, which is going to gobble up anything that I miss hit. Now, these golf clubs, the player's distance, are really designed for a player who doesn't quite swing as fast as like the top end, but I mean 90 something miles an hour with a 7-iron. They want a little bit of added distance, because these being 30 basic degrees in a 7-iron, they are, say, relatively strong. They're modern day normal. But compared to a blade or something player's cavity or weak player's cavity, they are about a club stronger. And so these are designed for people who want a little bit extra distance, want a bit of extra kapow from the face, but doesn't want to look at a massive game improvement iron. Let's go see if we can get this one going to a green, because looks-wise, the P790 is my favourite when it comes to the 2021 against the 2023. It's a nice change for me. It's nice and clean, it's nice and boring, it's sleek, not say stealthy, that's a completely different line, but it's got a medium-ish top line, medium sole, medium blade lengths. These are not designed in any way to offend any particular person, and it's a nice satin finish if you like it. Right, let's go give this a hit down by the golf ball. We have a little bit of offset, but it's the smallest amount. That's a face open. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to dial speed relatively, where for the test, not going to be the easiest thing in the world, so I might miss-hit a few. At the mid-80-ish, so it's 84.3. A decent strike, just face was open. So again, yep, that's my fault. Feel-wise though, I do, remember these are hollow-bodied irons, so these are going to feel a little bit kapowy. And so, yes, you have speed foam air in this thing to try and quieten it all down. And then when it comes to the i525, that's got their own version to try and quieten it down as well. So you do know you're hitting a hollow head design, but it's actually pleasantly nice. There is no real high-pitched squeal that you can get from some of them. Oh, poor strike. That's going to hit the finger bunker. That's going to get the finger bunker. With me trying to slow swing speed down. I'll dial it a fraction up. You can see there, yeah, just low and heely. Efficiency drops off straight away, and that's what you're going to get when you hit it low heel. I'll dial speed up a fraction so I can guarantee strike a bit better. But yes, you can definitely feel it when you hit a golf ball there. So dial speed up a fraction more. Still fractionally open on the face. Oh, I tell you, this green is tiny. Very, very small. But yeah, I like the feeling of these. I've just relatively recently done the review of them, and yeah, it is nice. I do like the feeling. I could definitely game something like this, the P790, in my longer irons, my 5 and 6, just because they're so much easier to launch than my bladed 5 and 6. One or two more of these before I flick over to i525 to see if there's any difference in feel. So dial and speed up a touch just so I can try and yeah, manage some form of consistency of strike. But 170 yards, 172 yards, 1.37. Again, good strike, 0 bang on. These things are good. 33 yards in the air, 48 degrees descent angle, even at 86 miles an hour. This is functional for anybody. And when I did my test on this, you kind of have to get to the 80 mile an hour, even high 70s before this starts becoming non-functional. Like one more, because I'm interested to see what the difference is between this and the i525. Oh, that's a miss for me. That was Healy, and I could feel it. Still done very, very well. Slightly closed face with a heel. I'm kind of cheating somewhat. Yeah, 1.6 degrees close and 10 mil heel. There you go. So there is a normalized capture of a miss, although I had my face closed. So it normally then reduces loft. Yeah, 22.8 degrees. So you can't count it because obviously that is cheating. But considering I did hit it there, it's what, 7.9 yards offline. It's on the green, and this green is not the biggest at all. So, nice looking, nice feeling, quite forgiving. Let's go hit the i525 now and see if there's any differences between looks, feel, sound, and performance. Okay, back now, change data sets. We have now a red line, not a yellow, so we should see separation between them at least on the screen. Looks wise, I would say that the i525 actually has a thicker top line, but the i525 has a much more rounded top line, so it doesn't look nowhere near as big as it is. Sole thickness is an interesting one. So where P790 is, it's got a slightly thicker like heel part to the sole, and it is obviously, it gets thicker at the toe, but not as much as i525. i525 definitely does go out a lot more, so it's thinner down near the heel end, and it definitely does get them bigger towards the toe. It's more like a triangle wedge shaped, but it does look more of a chunky looking golf club. I'm not saying it looks chunky, I'm just saying comparing the two, it does look chunkier. What I do like down by the golf ball is that white line-up line. I've always liked that through Ping. Different colour, slightly high in the face, middle, but slightly high in the... Oh, tell you what's good though. This green is tiny. So I could feel it slightly high. There you go, that is slightly high in the face. Hit the surface a fraction before. Has it dropped spin? Not too much. So vertical gear effect hasn't really changed too much. 31 yards in the air, 46 degrees descent angle. It is doing rather well. Now, yes, the good thing about these kind of golf clubs, not so much game improvement irons, that when you use these kind of game improvement players distance irons, you're going to lose a little bit of feedback, the ability to really capture and understand to the millimetre where you're hitting it. But you haven't lost it. And so when you do miss hit, you can tell within a certain amount where you've mishit it on the face. Right, go give this one another hit and see if we can do a little bit better job. Trying to control speed, better, fractionally low on the face, but very, very good. Differences between these two in feel is marginal. It's very, very difficult for me to select a winner, if you want to say. I mean, from my point of view, the winner would be the one which is quietest. But for other people who quite like the fact that it's going to be a bit more of a kapow, then obviously the winner would be the one who's loudest. And then obviously others who don't care will then ignore it. So, and there's no difference whatsoever, just by whatever you like the look of and works best for you. Very fractionally face open, but unmistakably Ping. Oh, look at that. This green is horrific. Good luck playing this hole. Wow, that's going to be an interesting putt. Good strike, good delivery, face fractionally open, that's why it leaked off to the right hand side. But 31 yards in the air, 47 degrees descent angle, even 85 miles an hour. This thing is working. It just works, like they both do. If I had to, just purely at the moment, if I had to choose one or the other on looks, I'd possibly go P790 because it is just a slightly smaller looking. Now, it could be just the physical design of it to make it look smaller because it's just less angular like the i525 is. But how can you really, honestly, how can you really pick any of this apart? I mean, on performance of me hitting shots, you'd possibly say i525, but then again, it could be just a case that I'm getting more used to now swinging at 86 miles an hour rather than my normal 91, 92, 93, and so then it takes me a certain amount of time to dial in. That's what happens when you change speeds. It's not easy to change speeds and be consistent in delivery, but feel-wise, there is literally nothing in it between these two. These both feel quite nice. Now, these I would put in the medium sector when it comes to the feel of the sound. There are ones that are louder, and of course there are models from other manufacturers in the player's distance sector which is softer or quieter. But yeah, I mean, you're not going to go wrong with either one of these two. That's left. I could feel that one straight away. That's my fault, slightly over close face, but again, you can't complain with that in the slightest. Now, performance-wise, you'd have to say on camera, slightly close face, there we go. But good strike, what's that doing? 31 yards in the air, give it 30.5. But 46 degrees descent angle, and as you saw there, that's stopping on that green, and that is a very difficult green to hit. Even when you hit the green, that will wander down the old slope. So if I had to pick a winner between these two on that alone, which is a very small data set, and I would never put a winner on that, I'm going to go hit a load more times to see if there's actually a difference. I would have to go i525, yes, because I've managed to do arguably a better job with it. But again, very small data set. We'll do a bigger one in a sec. Looks, I would say P790 at the moment because it just looks a little bit sleeker than the i525. Right, let's go see which one wins when I'll go turn all this off. Boring hits, which you won't have to watch. And let's go see if we can actually find a winner in performance between these two, and then also forgiveness, where you get these whacked all over the face to see what level of retention you retain in ball speed when you mishit both of them. Let's go see how the i525 got on against P790, the 2023 model. When hit all over the face, yes, but I've got a lot of shots here for a really good average if there's any performance differences between these two. Again, very, very similar lofted, as in exactly the same, so it wasn't difficult to marry the lofts. But let's just go see if there's any differences in flight between these, and we'll look at the forgiveness, because there is difference in forgiveness between these two heads, so that would be interesting to critique in a little bit. So, i525 first, ball data. Ball speed on average 115.6 miles an hour, launching at 18 degrees, spinning at 5,188 RPM. It's going 30 yards up in the air and descending at 46.3 degrees at a carry of 169. If we compare that one straight over to the P790, 115.3 miles an hour, again 0.3 of a mile an hour in it, nothing whatsoever. Launching at 18.3 degrees rather than 18.3 for the i525, so again 0.3 of a degree, nothing in it, and spinning at 5,012 rather than 5,188, but is well within the blurring of standard deviation, so effectively I would not look into a 176 difference is nothing. Again, peaking at 30 yards in the air and descending at 46.2 degrees at a carry of 169. So basically these golf clubs are doing very, very, very similar things to the golf ball. Let's go have a look at the club head data. 84.9 miles an hour. Now my normal speed is about 92. But I've chosen to try and do this speed at a slightly slower speed because players' distance irons are for the whole idea of distance. It's a player or a person who wants a certain look to an iron and doesn't want to go to a massive game improvement iron, wants a certain aesthetic, but also needs the help from a little bit of forgiveness, definitely, and also a little bit of help in the springy faces and slightly cranked lofts that the player's distance category gives. Efficiency is 1.36, which is very good. Attack angle is 4.4 down, that's the degrees, the angle of the golf club coming down into the golf ball. Club path is self-explanatory at 0.4 from the inside, and face to path is 0.2 open, so it's 0. Loft is 24.4 degrees, and face impact is 1 mil hill or 1 mil low, and standard deviation on there as well. Let's compare that to the P790. Clubhead speed 84.9, managed to match the clubhead speeds quite well. Efficiency 1.36. Again, both these golf clubs are within reason maxed out from a point of view of the face that's being as springy as it possibly can do. Manufacturers have got to a point nowadays where, if anything, they're having to try and see if they can calm the middle down and then make the outsides a bit more springy for a little bit more forgiveness and consistency of ball speed across the face. But again, that's changing as time goes on. But club path is 0.8 from the inside, face to path is 0.300, loft is 24.5 rather than 24.4, 0.1 of a degree, and 0 mil hill, 3 mil low. But if anything, what I would say, and it is a very small amount, but if you look at the standard deviation of the strike for the P790 over the i525, standard deviation is slightly worse laterally across the face, yet it doesn't seem to make any difference to the efficiency. So it will be, from what I was gathering when I was doing the test, even though that the numbers are very, very similar, it's just that the P790, the new 2023 P790, just seemed to be a fraction more forgiving, the retention of ball speed off a larger part of the face. But we'll go into the forgiveness side in a sec. If you have a look at the ball compare screen, you can see their trajectories, and you can also see the club delivery side of things. Again, if you would look at the trajectories on that, I mean, they are so close. And then when it comes to the dispersion rings, they are so close. I wouldn't even look into any differences between that. They're both doing exactly the same thing. Right, talking about forgiveness and trying to map these faces to see what kind of golfer it will suit when it comes to strike patterns. Now, the whole idea of forgiveness is why I do the forgiveness stuff, is because, guys, if you know your strike patterns, if you know, obviously everyone wants to hit the middle, but you then deviate a certain, because people do move around the middle, they don't hit the middle every time. So if you know your pattern of your misstrike, you have a tendency to, say, wander to the heel, you have a tendency to wander slightly low, or you have a tendency to wander slightly toe. Different golf clubs will react differently and perform differently for those golfers. And so it's a good idea to marry your choice of your next buying decision on a golf club which complements your mishit rather than obviously makes it worse. So let's go first to the i525 for a slight heel shot. Now, I'm going to try and stay away from over massive hits around the face, because again, I mean, I suppose if you're going to go to a point where you're going to nearly shank it or you're going to nearly miss it off the toe, and that's a common part, that's more of a coaching thing than it is ever to try and find a golf club that will work from there. But i525 first, we've got 12 millimeters heel, and we got a face to path of 0.1, so it's fairly square, and efficiency of 1.32, which is not bad at all, considering we're talking 1.36 is average. But again, you are going to start moving efficiencies. These are not game improvement irons, these are not super springy max help things, but they are designed, they're nowhere like blades either. Blades are a bit more punishing, but these will give a little bit more. So 1.32, so it's dropped a little bit. When it comes to the Taylormade, 10 mil heel, so it was 2 mil better. So let's be honest, there is a slight improvement in strike, 2 millimeters, but it's 2 millimeters. And there's a reduction in loft of 0.5 degree. So we just have to be open to the fact that there are slight differences, but I mean, it's very, very slight. But efficiency is now 1.34, so it's not dropped quite as much. I mean, there's small mitigating factors, yes, but they are very small in reality. So I would say from heel strikes, the Taylormade is fractionally better, but it is a fraction better. Let's go have a look at the low, bottom of the bottom groove, when you hit it thin, whichever one it will be. i525 first, so we've got 12 mil low, 3 mil heel, which 12 mil low is very low, yes it is, but we have a decent efficiency of 1.27 considering how low it is. It's not the best, but it's done okay. It will drop as soon as you go in 1/2 inch low. 3 mil heel is not a lot, but I mean, it's done okay. When you compare that though to the P790, you've got 11mm low, 5mm heel, so it's 1mm not as bad vertically, but it is a couple more millimeters over towards the heel, so it averages it out. Face to path of 0, and if anything is actually delivering 1 degree more loft, so more loft generally speaking means a more deflection, less efficiency, and we've got an efficiency of 1.3 rather than 1.27. So I would say that there is, when you go to the i525 and the P790 off the heel, it's close, but you could possibly say that the P790 just has it. When it comes to low on the face, the P790 definitely has it. It is definitely much more forgiving off of low strikes, but there is a reason for that we'll go into in a second. Okay, let's go by nominal toe strike misses, as in not very big whatsoever, but nominal. We've got one here for the i525, 8mm toe, 0mm high, just 8mm toe, just very slightly toey, and efficiency is 1.39. I mean, that's well surpassing the average, and of course the average that I've got on there for the initial information is because I've hit loads and loads of shots on there, and you can have really good shots in there, a lot of them, and then also the poor ones that you see drop down. So there always will be a little bit of blur into the data, but then guys, remember, when it comes to you doing your custom fits and your data sets of any kind of thing, you will hit shots from time to time which aren't the best, and the worse you are, the more of those shots that you hit. And so I wouldn't worry necessarily that you keep those ones in. What we take out outliers. I mean, if you don't hit shanks at all, and you hit weird 2 shanks and then don't hit anything else, it'd be daft to keep them in the data set. But if you have a pattern of hitting a certain type of shot, then yeah, we need to keep that in. But that's the reason why. But 1.39 is really good. If you then go 1mm worse, 1 on the Taylormade, it's 1 P790, 9mm rather than 8mm. You've got loft of within 0.1 of a degree, so there's no loft differences whatsoever causing deflection or anything else like that. But you can see the drop to 1.37. Yeah, okay, now that's still 0.01 better than average. But it's interesting to see how well the i525 works from toe strikes. And if we then push it a bit more, not massively, we're not talking hitting off the scoring lines or anything else like that, but if you go to the i525 at 17mm toe against the 1.36 efficiency, which is average from 17mm toe, and then you go over to the P790, and the P790's got a fraction worse strike. 1mm worse on the toe and 2mm high, which is nothing anyway. But if you look at the difference there, you could argue, and it is an argue, that the fact that the P790 is delivered 0.8 of a degree more loft, so there's a fraction more deflection in that, and then you've got a slight tinier worse strike, but it's within a few millimeters, and it drops to 1.33 against 1.36. So there is a distinct difference there. And so when you're looking at these, you can see the difference between an i525 and a P790 in its design and construction. You've got, in the i525, you've got the weight placements, you've got the tungsten placements put through the toe and on the tip of the shaft, and so they are drawing their tungsten out as wide as they possibly can do, where the internals of a P790, the tungsten is much more behind, lower, in front of the middle of the actual face, if you understand, right at the bottom. And so they have a more of a centralized tungsten placement as opposed to the i525, which has tungsten both ends. And so it works really well on i525 off of toe strikes. When it goes to low, the P790 will win, and then when it goes to heel, they're very close. I mean, it's very difficult to pick a winner when it comes to the heel. When it comes to a conclusion of this, looks wise, I would say, for me, I slightly prefer P790. It just looks now slightly a bit cleaner, slightly sleeker, slightly less busy. Well, the i525 is a bit bigger, a bit more angular, probably a bit more confidence inspiring when you look at it, but it's player's distance, so depending on what you want from a golf club, again, that's subjective, there you go. When it comes to the feel or the sound of these two, they both sound very similar, and I would class these in the medium bracket of noise or impact sound. in the player's distance range, you do have softer versions, and you also do have louder versions as well within different manufacturers, and I put them in the middle. But again, sound is subjective, and if you like the sound of something or you don't like the sound of something, that's, you ask 10 different people, you get 10 different answers. Performance wise, they both perform really very close, really very close. No winner that I can really see between them, but in forgiveness, there is a distinct difference between these two. If you're a heel striker, both of these will work fairly well. If you're a low strike off the face as your miss, then I would definitely go P790, and if you're a toe striker as a miss, I would definitely go i525. But again, test, get down to your local place, give these two a go, and put these on your list for testing, because these are two very good options within the player's distance category. So comment below, what do you think about the i525 and P790? Have you tested these, and what do you think of them? Whilst you're down there though, if you could thumbs up, go on. YouTube like, so do I, like the video. Down there also is a subscribe button. It's free and it's great for the channel if you could do that. So thank you very much if you could. And next to it is a bell icon. That's a notification bell. And if you click that one, that will notify you next time I upload another video. So I hope you're well, and we'll see you again soon.